This AC here has got a problem. These coils are turning into a snow cone machine. It's not good. It's not supposed to do that.
So believe it or not, even with the coils frozen over like that, for some reason the air conditioner is also not blowing cold. So if you have either of those symptoms in your portable AC unit, this is probably the video for you. Taking this thing apart is just as simple as seeing a screw and removing a screw. Be kind of careful not to break any of your plastic tabs on there. One of the panels will hide some of the screws in the other panel, so just keep that in mind while you're taking the thing apart.
So I finally got the thing all pulled apart, and you'll notice these coils are pretty clean and they're not really damaged. So that's usually my first guess, and the fact that those are fine tells me that it's not that. My second guess is going to be this capacitor, because the way an air conditioner works is right here you have a big old compressor, which is just a giant electric motor, but it's under pressure, so it's got to work even harder than like a fan or something. So that needs a lot of extra boost to kick on, which goes through this capacitor right here, and you can see those wires go straight to that compressor motor. Now, if this capacitor is bad, that would explain why the compressor can't kick on and circulate freon, or not freon, but refrigerant, whatever, through these coils and cause, you know, the AC to do the air conditioner thing. So that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and pop that out and test it real quick. Careful when you're doing this, because capacitors can hold the charge even if it has been unplugged. So one way to kind of negate that is to press the power button over and over again, maybe hold it down, but even so, you still want to be very careful with that capacitor. So in order to test your capacitor, you are going to need one of these. This is just a multimeter. You don't need to buy one this fancy. I got kind of a nice one, but you will need one that has this setting right here, and that's capacitance. It's basically specifically for testing capacitors. Now, you'll know if your capacitor is good or not, because when you test it, it'll read out whatever microfarad number you have, or maybe nanofarads. Usually they're in UF, which is microfarads, so as long as this gets up to 45, plus or minus 5% of 45, that means you're good to go. Something I noticed is that it's got this big old dent, and there's been a couple of times, because I tested it a few times, I can't seem to get it to recreate it, but it did not test good, and then it like got up to 43 and then dropped to 0 and then back up to 43. I'm guessing that means there's some sort of damage in here that's causing it to function inconsistently, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace it anyways, plus I already ordered the part, so that's that. But if you ever do need to test a capacitor, that's how you do it, and here I'll just show you on another one. So that one was 45 farads. This one is a microwave capacitor that we're gonna be super careful with. 0.77, and you see that UF, plus or minus 3%. So let's see how this one tests. I know it's good, so it should test right as it's supposed to, but 0.779, so I think that's well within 3% tolerance. Anyways, you just need a multimeter like this, and then ensure that both your probes are plugged into the right holes. Now there's one for amperage, there's one for whatever that is, and then there's this one that's basically for everything else. So that's the one we're going to be using, and you want to make sure your common's in the right one and not in one of these red ones. So as long as that's all good, you should be able to test it just fine with the multimeter. But like I said, damage to the outside of a capacitor is also usually an indicator that you should have to change it. Plus that did kind of reflect in the inconsistent readings I was getting earlier. So with the multimeter, I've now determined that the capacitor is indeed bad. Probably shorted out somehow, I don't know. It's not leaking or anything like that. It's an electrolytic capacitor, so they have like fluid or something, oil, I don't know what the fuck it is, but they leak sometimes when they go bad, at least older ones. This one's not leaking, so I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm guessing something that's causing it to short out and not store electricity and stop at 5 ohms. So whatever that is, I need a new capacitor. Well, I can usually get away with the replacement that's going to be like 300 to 400 volts or so, but I think 2,100 volts is probably a little high, so I'm not going to use one of these, but I was able to overnight one on Amazon, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a new one. It's not here yet, but you know, I ordered it. It'll be here in a few hours. I got to go to work though, so I'll see y'all tomorrow, but I mean, it'll be today, I guess, watching it. Anyways. Well, I'll skip all the reassembly stuff, but the new capacitor is in there, and it's still doing the exact same thing. Coils are still freezing over, so firing the parts cannon didn't work in this case. It never really does, so now I guess I gotta use my brain. Next point of interest in this circuit is going to be that RY1. I'm gonna go ahead and test that guy. That's the compressor relay, and that's where these two black and red wires go in. It's that big chunky guy there. I'm gonna go ahead and test it. You can probably hear the fan blowing, but check this out. Relay down there when it's all hooked up. If I take the screwdriver and bridge the two connections together without myself, you can hear the compressor kick on. Maybe you can hear the compressor kick on, but the compressor just kicked on, and when I remove the screwdriver, it turns off. That seems like a bad relay to me. Because the relay is just a switch, and it's not switching automatically, but it switches when I you know, kind of manually touch the two connections together. Probably the relay not doing something it's supposed to be doing, right? All right, well, I got the board off, and I only broke one of the connectors. It'll still go on and line up with the pins though, so I'll call that a win.
And here lies our culprit, I believe anyways. Now, to massively oversimplify what this relay does, it's basically controlling the flow of refrigerant throughout the system. So if your coils are freezing over, this is likely the culprit. So I'm gonna proceed as though that's the case and kind of, you know, desolder it and replace it with this new unit right here. Damn, that thing works well. I don't know what the hell I was using the solder wick for. Whew, this thing's great. Dude, these little things make things way easier. Screw this stuff. Any of you thinking that, oh, this guy's just some professional electronics repair guy, blah, 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 go ahead and check out my channel and see what I do. I am not an electronics repair guy. I'm actually very recently getting into stuff like this. So normally I weld and like fix cars and stuff, but I found this nice deal on a fancy soldering station on Amazon, so I figured maybe I'll give this a shot. Tin that a little bit. Preheat E terminal and melt the solder onto there again. When things are the same temperature, the solder likes to stick a lot better, so preheating is very handy in that regard. Forgot to record me mounting the board and plugging everything back in, but that's just the reverse of taking it off. And if you're doing this, you probably took pictures, hopefully, of how everything's supposed to go back on there. It's kind of a jumbled mess. I don't think this is how it was supposed to go on, but it's gonna work. But to ensure that, I'm gonna plug it in real fast, disassembled, to make sure that all the electronics work, and I didn't mess up that PCB too bad. This is just a test to make sure the thing even comes on. And it does.
You hear that? That's the compressor running without me bridging it with a screwdriver. Because it's got a new relay in it. And no more frozen coil. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel. This is just kind of a continuation from a video I did about a year ago where the only issue was the dirty coils and I had a lot of vibration in the compressor. But this is a new issue on a new unit, so hopefully maybe this kind of broadens the spectrum of solutions I can have for you. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless.